For more than half a decade, a Toronto filmmaker dreamed of going on an expedition to Arctic Scandinavia. And this month, that dream became a reality. Tyler Cowen joined a team of 20 people from around the world for a 300-kilometer dog sledding expedition, the Fjällräven Polar Expedition. So Tyler was the only Canadian who was selected to be on this incredible trip, and he is in our studio this morning. Look at that scenery. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
You were the only Canadian. What gave you the edge in being selected? And I think we all want to know, what does it look like up there?
Oh, well, in terms of the aesthetic, it's beautiful. I mean, you kind of picture what the Arctic looks like,
yeah,
and then you're there, and it's unlike anything I'd ever seen.
What are some of the most spectacular sights?
Honestly, ironically, it's the absence of anything. I think the third day we kind of came up out of the trees. Geographically, it's very similar to Northern Ontario, so kind of what we would see in the Muskokas, and then you kind of get up out of the lakes.
And then this is it, no trees.
And that's it, yeah, just completely barren for hundreds of kilometers in every direction.
Was it disorienting at all?
A little bit at first, because it's hard to gauge the size of anything, the distance. There's really no markers for scale.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of swimming in this sea of snow.
I imagine there's hundreds of people who want to do this. What made you the standout candidate? How did you get selected?
I honestly can't say why they chose me in particular, but I come from a background, like a family that's very outdoor oriented, and grew up doing a lot of camping, a lot of canoeing in Northern Ontario, and just motivated to do my own kind of trips. And so I think that expeditionary spirit was very much alive in me from an early age, but kind of accessing that type of trip is a bit harder for most people. So when the opportunity was presented, I knew that was something I really wanted to do. So
there's a human team, and then there's the dogs. There's 180 skilled sled dogs. You formed a really close bond with them. You can imagine, are these some of the dogs that ran your sled?
Those are some of the dogs, yeah. So we each ran a team of 6 Alaskan Huskies. And it's amazing. You know, you do form a really close relationship with the dogs over the course of the week. And this is Timon here. He was my lead dog, and he's such a good boy. We had a very close relationship by the end of the time out there. So
I'm looking at your pictures, Tyler, and I mean, just all the white that surrounds it, and you said the coldest it got was -35. So, you said this was not a vacation. So what were the risks that you had to manage, and why was your job as the stove guy so important?
Wow, okay, the stove, there's a story. So I think in an expedition environment like this, you are essentially sustaining yourself. So there's very few opportunities to resupply along the way. You're basically going from point A to point B, and you're responsible for taking care of yourself and your team, and in our case, the dogs, while you're out there. And so what you have on you is what you have at your disposal. And if anything goes wrong, or if there's an issue with your equipment, which is your lifeline, you have to get very creative with working the problem. And in the Arctic, your water is coming from snow. So it's very important that you're hydrated. The dogs need water. You need water for your food. You need water for warmth at night. We're boiling water for warm water bottles. So it takes a surprisingly it takes quite a bit of time to boil water from snow.
Especially if it's -35.
Especially when it's -35. So you're spending a lot of time working stoves. And if you take a stove out of the equation, it can really turn a good day bad very quickly. And we were having issues in that temperature, fuel line freeze-ups, nozzle blockages. So I spent a fair amount of time pulling stoves apart, trying to get them working again.
Wow.
Just because you're relying so much on that equipment.
Now that you're back home and you live in Toronto, so we love the city, but you're surrounded by concrete. What stays with you the most from this trip that you think about every day?
I think that we are meant to spend time in nature. I think it's like where we come from, and when you do something like this, I think it kind of reawakens that connection. And coming back, there's this pull to spend more time outside. And when you have a heightened experience like this in this kind of environment, the desire to go back into a space like that is incredibly heightened. And so, like I said, I've spent a fair amount of time camping and backcountry tripping in the past, but there's this pull now to explore, I think, a little bit more. And, we have a beautiful province, we have a beautiful country. That's one of the things that I think my European colleagues were very much on top of. Canada's so beautiful, Canada's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And how little of it we actually see, and wanting to spend more time kind of exploring what we have right in our backyard.
Yeah, there's life outside the Trans-Canada Highway.
There certainly is, yeah, very much so.
All right, thanks so much for coming in, Tyler. Great pictures.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.